Ooh, now there's a little thing here that says you are live when we're live.
I think that's always been there.
Okay, so we must be live then.
Yeah.
You are live watching the Sports Porch Philadelphia all over the world on Facebook, LinkedIn, X,
Instagram.
And no, not Instagram yet.
YouTube.
And YouTube, that's right. And we're going to drop the podcast right after the show, the Sports Porch Philadelphia podcast on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. I ran out of breath. And, of course, I've got the Grand Schwabini over here to my right. Got Rube down below us. We're going to be talking football. We're going to be talking baseball. We're going to be talking all things Philadelphia sports.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you say to that, Rube? Welcome back.
It's good to be here, boys. Thanks for having me. I'm excited. I'm kind of starting to feel more comfortable in my chair here, and thanks for the opportunity.
There you go. So it's a Victory Monday.
It is
Victory Monday. So let's flash back to last week. Who did we predict would win game one?
I did. Didn't I?
No, you did not.
Did I predicted the Oh, yeah, never mind.
And Rube picked Green Bay.
And you picked
the Grand Schwabini has a name for that purpose.
Yes.
That he can predict the future.
That's right. And you did.
Right. And so
you are grand.
It was a victory.
So I guess we're opening the cover and going to page one here.
Page one.
That's right. Page
Eagles.
One.
Rube says good, bad, ugly. Well, why don't you start us off with the good, Rube?
Listen, Saquon was good. 3 touchdowns. Did he run for over 100 yards? I think he ran for over 100 yards.
109.
Mm-hmm.
Looked good. Looked healthy. I was a little scared at the end of the first half when he got a little dinged up. But very good. Very good start for Saquon.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And, here's what I would say it was good. I'm gonna pick out a couple things. Number one, I'll tell you what, Quinyon Mitchell, our number one rookie corner, looked the part. He looked like he's a baller. He's a player. Now, look, it's just one game, so we're not going to get too carried away with it. But I felt very good with him on the other side of Slay. What do you think, Rube?
Yeah, I loved when he talked smack after that first breakup pass that he had at the beginning. Yeah. It was beautiful. I love the cockiness. He was on the guy. He was right on him. And even the pass interference call against him in the second half, I thought was BS. I thought I'm 1,000 times more confident with him out there than Bradbury.
Yeah, well, he's not afraid at all. Not a little bit. Another good I'm going to give you. How about Zach Bond?
Yeah.
How about Zach Bond? He was the only. I think he might have been the only defender that got on the plane that night, besides Blankenship and besides Quinyon.
Yeah, well, he had 15 tackles, 2 sacks.
Yep.
Including sort of the game clincher at the end. Yeah, he was all over the place. And he's a guy that Vic Fangio went to Howie Roseman and asked for. He was just sort of a situational pass rusher on the Saints, I believe, last year. And Vic Fangio loved him. And look, he came to play. He really looked good. I also would say, I'm just going to put this as a positive in an overall sense. I thought Nakobe Dean looked pretty good. Now he's got to catch that ball, the easy pick six. You got to catch that and you got to run that in. And I did see him get beat on a play or two, but I also saw him blow some dudes up. Which
I will save my comments on Nakobe for a different section of good, bad, and ugly.
Oh,
not
okay.
in the good,
Okay.
not in the good section.
Okay.
But I have one more good.
What's that?
Good. Does Devontae drop anything? He's amazing.
No, Devontae Smith is awesome. AJ Brown is awesome. So yeah. I mean, a lot of good in the game. Also, was another good one. Mekhi Becton played very well at right guard. I saw a bunch of, I don't know if you look at a lot of Twitter, but Brian Baldinger is always doing evaluations of offensive linemen, and he was breaking down Mekhi Becton, and he was just bulldozing people. So maybe he just sort of found the right spot. Maybe he just isn't an NFL tackle, and he could be a great guard. So it's another, Stoutland University, hard at work.
Stoutland U. I love it. Yeah,
Yep.
I think a lot of good for sure.
All right. So what are some bad things? What was happening that you found disturbing?
Well,
disturbing. Yes. What was disturbing about this victory?
I'll throw a couple out there. Number one was the field was just awful. It was just I was thinking, is that ugly or is that bad? But it was bad. And
Sodfather was back out of retirement.
Sodfather was bad. It was bad for both teams. I mean, come on, we got to be better than that. The NFL has to be better.
They only care about money. They don't care about the conditions of the field.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Schwabi.
Yeah.
So I couldn't help but hear one of the quotes at the beginning of the game saying, "We are now playing this game in São Paulo," which you referred to last week as a whole, the biggest city in the Southern Hemisphere. So a lot of folks down there. That big following. We're going to send you to geography class.
I never said that I was a cultural guy.
Yeah, like out in the middle of nowhere is, I think, what part of the quote
it is.
was.
It's all the freaking people that are all together out in the middle of nowhere.
Really?
All 20 million of them.
If you think about it, that's the whole Earth.
Yeah.
So, all right. So what else was bad, Rube? Because the field, I look at the field and I'm like, what do you expect? It's not a football field. It's not an NFL stadium. They don't have a grounds crew, like I think some stadium crews in the NFL, some teams, they take pride in their turf. Right. They really do. And then, so that to me doesn't qualify. That's something. What about the game bothered you or was bad? I'll tell you one thing for me. And now Hurts ended up with 278 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he did throw 2 interceptions.
And they were bad.
They weren't great. I saw the highlights of that, and they weren't great interceptions.
And there were 2 more that could have been intercepted.
And he did not rush for a whole lot, but with Barkley getting over 100 yards, he doesn't really have to if that's going to be the case. So, what was bad about anything bad about the Eagles' performance? Anything you didn't like?
Yeah, I didn't like third down defense, and I did not like the chunk plays. We gave up a lot of big yardage, big gain plays, and that's so frustrating. So my bad essentially was the defense held us in the game in the first half. In the second half, they tried to give it away. Didn't breathe on the quarterback, big chunk plays. I think we still got some things to work out on defense.
Sure.
So I'm calling it a bad effort.
Well, I'll agree with you on I'm going to say with the exception of Zach Bond, the pass rush was awful from the defensive ends. I mean, you're talking Josh Sweat, Bryce Huff, and Nolan Smith. I don't think any of them got anywhere near the quarterback. So that was that's a problem as I see potentially moving forward. Hopefully they'll come out and play better, against an Atlanta team that's not nearly as good next week. But we'll see. That to me was concerning. I would also say, here's the thing: the Jalen Hurts thing is a tough one because, look. In the grandest scheme of things, he can't play like he did on Friday night and have us expect to win a Super Bowl. We're not going to win if he plays like that. Okay. Really, forget about the 2 interceptions that didn't happen, which were bad throws. Because look, that happens every game. Sometimes people just drop them, just like Nakobe Dean dropped the one right in his breadbasket from Jordan Love. But the 2 that he threw were really head scratching type throws. The first one, you're practically in your own end zone and you're just going to throw it into like triple coverage. you should be better than that in your 5th year, I would think. And then the worst one was, it's late in the game. You kick, you throw the ball away and you kick a field goal. You're up 8. And, when you're up 8, you feel pretty good, like you're going to win the game. And then he tried to play hero ball and tried to throw the ball to A.J. Brown in the middle of the end zone, going back against his body, throwing to the middle of the field, which is a no-no. You're not supposed to do that. So, that was bad. I mean, those were bad decisions. So
I would take you one. I would take you one further, Schwabi. I thought it was downright ugly. When I think of ugly and that ball he threw against the grain, that's a rookie throw. That's terrible. And the first one, I agree. Just ugly, terrible throws. And we expected rust, right? We expected some rust, but goodness gracious, to be part of 3 turnovers, Jurgens was one of them.
Right.
But man, he threw some just
Yeah.
He's just maddening. He's maddening. He'll throw those passes and then he'll go on a 6-minute drive where he's pulling people for first downs.
Right.
I agree with you. We can't win like that.
Right. So, I mean, here's the thing. So, the other side of this too is like, if we want to bash him for the bad plays, we also got to give him credit for the good plays. I mean, the pass he threw to Saquon Barkley was a perfect ball. Couldn't have been placed anywhere else. It was perfect, right on the money. The A.J. Brown touchdown was a perfect ball, right? Just took him right away from the defender and opened up the whole field for A.J. to run in for a touchdown. And when the game was on the line and there was 6 minutes left to go, and the objective was not to give the ball back to Jordan Love, he had that incredible run where he basically pile drived, 2 guys for 5 yards to get a first down. And he had 2 really good slant throws to Devontae Smith to extend that drive and really never give them a chance because they only got the ball back with like 30 seconds left. So, on the flip side, though, that's the other side of, well, that is a guy that you can win a Super Bowl with because in the important moments, he did come through. So I think it was good and bad. Like I'd kind of give him like a B- for the game. And I'm hoping that we can coach him up. Looks like Stuart Sneidman is tuning in, an old friend from the high school days.
Yes, Robbie. Ugly. Maybe he can start by not staring down his receivers. And he says hello to LMR.
Yeah.
The wife.
But here's the thing. Now, true. Like, look, I mean, I know there's things that Jalen needs to work on. And I'm hoping that can be corrected. I'm hoping, also too, this is game 1 and the new offense. One of the things that he did very, very well, which was a big problem at the end of last year, was he handled the blitz fantastic. Right. So he really played against the blitz very well. But also realize too, I think we are getting a little bit like Negadelphia here. Like the bottom line is, there's a good amount of, broadcasters out there that have the Packers in the Super Bowl. And we basically went out on a neutral field and beat a team that people are picking for the Super Bowl, that people are saying their quarterback's better than ours, that, people are saying, this is going to be the future of the NFL. They were on the rise and we were coming down last year. And you know what? We beat them. We won. So, why do we always have to be so angry about the win?
I'm going to tell you
that's Philadelphia for you.
Right.
I'm going to tell you why, Mark. I'm going to give you the answer. I'm going to give you the answer, Schwabi. When I watched that game on Friday night, it reminded me of every one of those nail-biting wins that we had last year before the bottom fell out, when we got exposed for doing some of this dumb stuff, for bad interceptions, for not touching the quarterback, for missing reads like Dean did on a couple of those plays. That's not going to work against the really good teams. And I think we know that. And that's why I think it's just so maddening. Hurts can look so bad and then look so good within the same drive. I think we're just looking for some consistency here. That's the concern.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But what I would say is, let's have a little more faith in the fact that we've got Kellen Moore there now instead of a nobody, to get into his ear and really talk about, cleaning it up. Because look, we know he can clean it up. In the Super Bowl year, he had 6 interceptions. So we know he can protect the ball and play really well. One of the problems is, as he played so well that Super Bowl year and really balled out in the Super Bowl, he now believes that he is, probably better than he actually is. He probably believes like he's on the same level as a Patrick Mahomes, and he's not. And so he's got that like Brett Favre now kind of like hero ball, like, hey, yeah, I mean, it's not looking good right now. I'll make the play. That's what they got to coach him out of that mindset is what they need to do. And I think that they can do it. Now, if we're talking in like, week 4, week 5, and he's got 6 interceptions already, I'm going to say, I don't know, man. I don't know if he's getting it or, if he's just too stubborn I'll agree with you there, but I'm not ready to sour on him after a win over, one of these teams that's supposed to be better than them.
So you're calling this overreaction Monday?
I'm calling it a little bit of an overreaction Monday. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I want to know if Negadelphia is a thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
First time I've ever heard that phrase. I mean, I would agree. No, all those years I lived in Philly and,
it's a big phrase.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it fits.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Well, I mean, look, the bottom line is that, for a while it was in Philly, we were so upset that we went all these years without a championship.
Yeah.
And then the Phillies won a championship, and then the Eagles won a championship, and now we won a dynasty.
Yeah.
And so unless we have a dynasty,
you're not going to be happy.
We're pissed off.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's pissed off. Like, we can't just be happy that we beat the Packers that half the freaking country has in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm calling it Edudelphia, because I think we also know that the window can be awfully tight to get a couple of those Super Bowls, and we've waited so long. So I think there's a piece of that too.
Well, look, when I moved to Philadelphia, everybody was pissed off, and the Phillies won a championship and the Eagles won a Super Bowl, and everybody's still pissed off. So nothing's changed. I think it's just the town. Maybe. I think you're all just pissed off all the time. My theory, Rube, is when I now for our listeners and watchers, I grew up in York, Pennsylvania, about 90 minutes to the west of Philly, central PA. Very familiar with Philadelphia, lived there through college, went to Drexel. But when I first moved there, I came up with a theory. And the theory, now I don't want to get lambasted for this. This was just my theory when I moved there because I hadn't experienced the Philly attitude yet. So I experienced it for the first time. The sports fans, blah, blah, all that other kind of stuff. And my theory was, this town is just pissed off. It's pissed off at itself, basically, because it built a statue to a fake movie character that was a boxer who in real life was actually born in New York. And they're mad that that's the only champion at the time that they ever really had. That was my theory.
Are you sure he was born in New York?
Yes. Look
it up.
100%. Okay, you guys keep talking about the Eagles. I'm going to tell you where Sylvester Stallone was born. Yeah, that was my theory. Now that was 35 years ago, and it's changed.
So, Ruby, anything ugly from the game, or did we kind of cover it already? What do you think?
I don't like the new kickoff. That's the only other.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's ugly.
It's horrible. It's horrible because the whole idea behind it was to encourage more kickoff returns. Like, as much as I hate the idea of the offense, let's say, getting the ball on the 35 or even the 40-yard line, that has to be the penalty for teams to kick it in the field of play, because there's no difference between the 25 and the 30, very little, so, and it's just weird looking too, like, how nobody can move until the ball hits. It's bizarre.
It's for the health of the players, but it's ugly to watch.
Yeah.
Sylvester Gardenzio Stallone was born in the Hell's Kitchen neighborhood of New York City's Manhattan borough on July 6th, 1946.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
Just thought I'd.
But he did turn to Philadelphia to make him a star.
Well, he wrote right, and then they built a statue and
he realized,
put it up outside the Spectrum as if Rocky was a real sports figure. Yeah,
he is a real sports figure.
That's right. In your mind,
he's a boxing legend.
He is a boxing legend. You're right. Anyway, that was my theory. Okay, guys.
Okay,
sorry.
So let's move on to page 2.
Okay, page 2. What is page 2? This is Rube's creation.
Domo arigato, Mr. Lovato.
Domo. So listen, we did our 10 most irreplaceable Eagles a few episodes ago.
Two to be exact. Yep.
By the way, Rube, how do you feel about not having Saquon Barkley on that list?
I don't want to overreact in week 1 yet.
Only one. Yeah.
But Jake the Snake, he was solid. You can't go wrong. Listen, I in all seriousness, this guy's solid. He puts the ball where it needs to be every time. And because we were going to do this segment this week, I specifically was watching exactly where the snaps were going. It was perfect. It's a difference between winning and losing sometimes. Domo arigato, Mr. Lovato. I'm a big fan.
I'm gonna still say I'm gonna give him a B for the week, because he did not record a tackle. He is a special teams player. He can go down and make tackles on kickoffs, and there was no tackle to be had.
Negadelphia.
Yeah,
there you go.
So
to Negative Town. All right, got it.
Show up on the stat sheet. Yep. Lovato.
Hey, yo, Adrian. All right, page 3, buying or selling. What is this all about, guys?
Well, let's have Rube explain it, because this is Rube's baby.
Yeah, so a few questions after week 1 in the NFL, and I'm going to ask you guys both. I didn't prepare you for these questions, and I want to see what you're saying. So I'm going to ask a question or make a statement, and you're either going to say I buy it or I'm selling, and why. Are you ready?
Okay. All right. Ask Schwaber first.
Hit me.
All right, Schwabi. Number 1, Jalen Hurts throws for less than 15 interceptions this year. Buy or sell?
I'm buying because I do believe that they are going to work with him on that, and he's going to keep it in better check this year. I buy. Even with, I'm already down 2, but I'm buying 13 the rest of the way.
All right. So you say less than or equal to 15. Chris, what do you say, sir?
I'm buying that too. I think the first game, given the fact that they were playing out in the middle of nowhere, and and all the press leading up to that, there was a lot of rust. So, and that across the body throw that we were always taught was the wrong thing to do.
Steve DeFlitch buys, and Stuart Negadelphia Snideman is selling.
You can put the comments up, Mark, if you want.
I did.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay. Yeah. I'm buying under 15 or less, because we see that throw in the NFL all the time now. These guys, their arm strength is different. So I'm not saying that wasn't a mistake. It was definitely a mistake and not a throw that needed to be made. But I don't think that's a throw that Hurts is going to make all season long. I think he's got a little rust. So I'm buying the under 15 interceptions.
All right.
Buy or sell, number 2. Saquon Barkley rushes for more than 1,200 yards this season. Buy or sell?
I buy. I think the only thing that prevents it is injury.
Yeah, I'm right with you, Schwab.
That's it. I mean, there's no reason why he can't. I mean, obviously, it's interesting because Saquon is one of these guys who we all knew he was incredible in college, right? And then when we watched him in New York, we were kind of like, is he really that good? I don't know. But New York is so bad. There's no offensive line. They don't have any receivers. It's like you designed the entire defense to stop Saquon Barkley when he was a New York Giant. You basically put
Yeah.
8 in the box and that's it. So
Yeah.
the fact that he would, barely get over 1,000 yards, I don't think it was really truly indicative of what kind of player he is. Now, look, being on the Eagles is, no matter who you are, is going to make you a better runner. DeAndre Swift goes over 1,000 yards. And some others as well, I'm sure. Miles Sanders goes over 1,000 yards, right? So, part of being with that great offensive line is it helps you a lot. But I think kind of combination of Barkley's talent plus the talent on the offensive line, I see no reason, barring injury, why he can't get to over 1,200. Steve DeFlitch says 1,500.
Yeah, Steve's watching on YouTube. Go ahead.
I will take that bet. Chris, what do you say?
Yeah, I'm going to buy that as well.
Seidman buys on Saquon as well.
Yeah, I'm buying on Saquon. His rookie year was ridiculous with New York. His second year was great. Then he had his injury the third year. The fourth year, he only played 13 games, rushed for 600 yards. I think he was injured then too. In 2022, he had 1,300 yards rushing, played 16 games, all 16 games. And then last year, he played 14 games on a horrible team and got just under 1,000 yards. The Eagles line is worlds better than the Giants line. So if he doesn't rush for 1,200 yards, they're not going to go very far in the playoffs. I don't think they're going to go very far.
Mhm.
I think he's just destined to have that.
Gosh, I hope he stays healthy. That's the one thing that worries me.
That's it. That's the only thing. Yeah, if he goes down, it's a game over. So,
yeah.
All right, next up.
All right.
You got to make these questions a little harder. I'm agreeing with Schwab on everything.
These have been pretty easy.
I mean, we know you're new at this. We get it. We totally get it. But I mean, come on, just dig in, Rube. Dig in.
Well, let me. All right. How about this? I'm going to go off script.
Okay.
2B. Saquon has more rushing touchdowns than Jalen by herself.
Yes, I think he will, because I don't think they're going to risk Jalen as much with a back like Saquon there. So I think that you're going to see Saquon rushing touchdowns at the 1 yard line instead of the tush push in.
Yeah, well, and the tush push that's kind of old now too. I mean, it works. I get it.
Yeah, it works, but but the thing about it this way, I mean, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that Jalen Hurts either leads or has the second most rushing touchdowns in the NFL the last 2 years. I think last year he had 15.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's a lot.
That is a lot.
But I also I'd be willing to bet, I don't know for sure, but I'd be willing to bet that 7 of them were tush pushes. So I think without that,
probably
without that, he's going to probably score about 8 touchdowns. I think Saquon will score like 9 or 10.
Yeah, as far as rushing goes, last year he had 15 touchdowns. He's had 10, 13, and 15 the last 3 years, and the tush push really kind of came into being in 2021. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a tougher question though, Rube.
Yeah, I think that I like the growth, Rube.
Yeah,
I'm working on it. Thank you for encouraging me, guys.
It's happening right before our very eyes, Schwaber.
Next question.
No, I'm gonna.
I'm waiting on Chris.
It's funny. I still have to agree with Mark on that, and just because I think that was the purpose of bringing in Barkley, is that we can take that pressure. We have a proven runner, and we could take the pressure off of Jalen so that we're not putting him in harm's way as much, and he doesn't feel the need to take off and run all the time. We can institute more of a running game and maybe an RPO and that kind of stuff. So I think I'll tell you what, though, when I was looking at Saquon's numbers, let me just pull these up real quick. I'm going to go back a couple pages when we were talking about Barkley and his rushing yards. Crud.
Hey, Chris, while you're looking for that, I'll fill the time for a second.
Go for it.
I think I don't think the tush push goes away. I think it actually gets better because you have a dude that squats 600 pounds pushing another guy that squats 600 pounds, and they're going to be even better at it. Maybe, I don't think we lose much without Kelsey.
I
I
don't
think
know.
Jurgens guy can do it.
I don't know. I don't know. I think Kelsey's a big part of it. I think we also try it less this year because it's Cam Jurgens and not Kelsey.
Yeah.
So I disagree with that. But what I would agree with, though, is I would agree with that because there's no Kelsey and because it's Cam Jurgens, who, by the way, did play very well, aside for snapping the ball.
Which is important. That's pretty important.
Right. But you have to have Goddard and Saquon pushing. You can't have anybody else pushing. Like, you need your big dudes pushing because we don't have Kelsey in there.
Okay, so Barkley's, the year he had the most touchdowns, his most touchdowns in a season was 11, and that was in 2018. The second most was 10, and that was in 2022. The rest were all single digits and a lot lower. So I don't know. That's tough. You know what? I might just push on that one. They could be equal. Because I can definitely see
it's not buy, sell, or push, Chris. It's buy or sell.
Okay, then I'll tell you what, just to be different than Schwab, because I am different than Schwab. I'm gonna sell that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say that Jalen has maybe one more touchdown than Saquon. He's not gonna get 15 this year, but he might have 9 and Saquon will have 7 or 8, something like that.
All right. All right.
That's rushing touchdowns. So,
hey, by the way, I don't want to go to Negadelphia, but I meant to call this out earlier. These designed runs for Jalen have got to stop. They didn't work. Everybody sees it come in. What's the point? You got Saquon. You've got weapons all over the field. We got to use them.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the bottom line is there's no excuse for Hurts to run the ball more than 5 times in a game. There's no excuse. I mean, you basically look. You want to throw in like two tush pushes a game. You want to throw in maybe like, a bootleg play, and maybe just like, a play where he's rolling out and then maybe decides to run because something's not there. That should be about it. The pass run option is just stupid at this point because, first of all, he's not running like he did when he ran during the Super Bowl year. He's just sliding if somebody's near him. So it's not nearly as an effective a play. I realize he's trying to protect himself and he's being told to do that. But you shouldn't run a play where you're thinking about going down without gaining any yards 50% of the time. I mean, that's a stupid play. I mean, just hand it to Saquon. And look, I personally think that Hurts is one of the better deep ball throwers in the league. So just let him sit back there in the pocket and let him throw the ball.
Yeah. I agree. I don't like the designed runs for him either. I think that's why you have Saquon Barkley.
It's enough. You do it when it's like a total surprise. Like you don't do it the entire game. And then there's like 3 minutes left in the game and everybody's thinking that you're going to hand it to Saquon. That's the time that you pull it in and you fake and you go around and you get 10 yards.
Yeah.
Or you run right up the middle, right? So one of those.
Yeah. You let Hurts, Hurts can run and he knows when to tuck and run. You just let him play his game that way and let Barkley carry the load. Yep. Absolutely. Anything else there, Rube?
No. Are we ready for buy or sell number 3?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Number 3, the Eagles sack total less than last year. 43 sacks last year.
Where did that rank in terms of the league average? Was it like right around the league average?
Last year, I do not know. I just looked at our number last year and said we're not gonna have as many sacks as last year.
Well, I'll just say I buy that. I'm buying that.
I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on that. I'm going to say I'm going to sell it. I think, and I'll tell you the reason why. I think we're going overreaction here. Look, Josh Sweat, nowhere to be found, but he's probably good for, if he stays healthy, 8 to 10 sacks. I think Milton Williams can get you 5 sacks. I think Jalen Carter can get you 10 sacks. I think Bryce Huff should be able to get you at least 8 sacks. And what I do like about about Vic Fangio is he blitzes linebackers, where you saw the 2 from Zach Bond. And of course, Devin White was out injured. Devin White is a really good blitzing linebacker. I think he had like 9 or 10 sacks last year. So I'm going to say, in a surprise, incorrect, the sack total will be higher.
Okay.
So you're selling that it will be less than 43.
Correct.
Right.
I'm selling it to the prettiest little model on the street. I don't know.
We did talk about just letting your true self come out before the show,
right,
Schwaber. So you're getting there.
Right.
You're getting there.
Selling.
So I'm buying it. Okay. Is there a fourth buy or sell?
Fourth buy or sell. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Xavier Worthy in the top 3 for offensive rookie of the year.
Sure. I mean, why not? I mean, he had 2 touchdowns in his debut with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
He's a deep ball threat. And to be honest, even if he's not that good, he's gonna seem that good on the Chiefs. That's the difference between good quarterbacks and bad quarterbacks. Is good quarterbacks make everybody look better.
Yeah, I think this should have been Xavier Worthy, offensive rookie of the year, buy or sell.
Now, offensive rookie of the year, buy or sell? I say no. He will not be the offensive rookie of the year.
You don't think so?
No.
So Rube put it in the top 3. I'll buy that. He looked like he looked pretty good, in that Chiefs game. Well, he looked pretty good. And I get what you're saying. I understand.
How many end around touchdowns are you going to have?
Yeah.
And now everybody also knows who he is. So nobody's going to be letting him dust them by.
Yeah. Maybe not
as easily.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, Hollywood Brown is going to come back, and then he's going to have less playing time.
Yeah.
Interesting point on the Chiefs. Why is it that Roger Goodell suspends everybody without letting the law play out, except Rashee Rice on the Chiefs gets to play, and we're just going to wait until it plays out in the legal system? Is it because they want Patrick Mahomes to have his 3rd consecutive Super Bowl?
I don't know. It could be.
It seems
I got a t-shirt. I got a t-shirt for you upstairs if you want.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do not.
Yes, you do. You gave me that t-shirt last week.
Oh, it seems fishy to me.
The t-shirt is a conspiracy theorist t-shirt.
Theory.
Yeah.
I identify as a conspiracy theorist. My pronouns are I told you so.
I told you so. Yeah, that's right.
Told you so.
Yeah. They got me that shirt, and he's the one, saying there's a conspiracy going on.
I do think that's a conspiracy.
Do you really?
I do.
Then why even watch? Why watch? The hell with it.
Well, no.
Look, you know what? The show's over. We're done.
No.
Good luck, Rube. We'll see you.
No.
Mark thinks the NFL is fixed.
Stop it.
No, I do think that's ridiculous, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, what's his name? The guy with last name Rice. He punches that girl in the elevator, and he's out of the league.
Yeah, I know.
This guy gets into a whole heap of trouble, and it's like, we'll play.
Yeah, we
play.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't matter that you're the number 1 option for Pat Mahomes. So
yeah.
Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, let's make sure these allegations are true. We don't want to just jump on things.
Right.
Yeah, but if you're a punter for the Bills,
right,
and you're basically, you're not guilty of anything, as it turns out,
completely acquitted.
Yeah,
you're just never going to kick in the league.
Yeah, you're never going to be back.
Never, just because we say so.
Yeah,
and also nobody cares who's kicking for the Bills.
That's right. Right. They care less about that than they do who's kicking for the Steelers.
Now, if he kicked for the Chiefs,
he'd be punting.
He's on the field.
Yep.
If it's Harrison Butker, kicking field goals,
he's
playing.
Yep. Gotta let justice take its course.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, that was great.
Are you guys done, or should I?
Is this like a tennis match, Rube? Or
that was enjoyable to watch. Okay. All right, so that was buy or sell for this week. If we like it, maybe we'll do some more in the future.
Yeah.
Segment,
just keep honing those skills, Rube. Keep honing those skills. Let's turn the page to page 4. The Phils were on a roll. They won 6 in a row, and then they dropped 2. But it looks like they're sailing right into postseason here. Schwarber hitting the hell out of the ball. Looking good. I'm looking forward to that Orioles Phillies World Series, guys.
The
It's going to be a blast.
The 83 rematch.
Yes.
And meanwhile, the Orioles have the entire Phillies ex bullpen.
Yeah. Well, why not?
So that's going to be a problem.
I don't know. If you watch if you watch the O's hit, they're pretty aggressive, those guys. So I don't know that they're going to need the bullpen. Anyway, this is a Philly show. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, it is annoying. It is annoying when, you have to have the Taiwan Walker game. And even if it's not Taiwan Walker, it's like, all right, let's give another guy from the minors a shot. And then they're just as bad. So that's kind of annoying. But for the most part, when that's not happening, they're winning most of their games now. I think they had won like 9 of 11. Prior during the 6-game win streak. So they're winning ball games. Wheeler's pitching great. Suarez, came back after that so-so outing and had a good outing. Sanchez is pitching well. Nola, not so good the other night, but overall very, very good. I looked it up in as far as starting pitchers in the National League. I believe the Phillies have 3 of the 5 top ERAs with Wheeler, Nola, and Sanchez, and Suarez would even be in there if he had enough innings.
Right.
So, starting pitching is really good. Bullpen, I think, is really settled down and really good at this point too. I love Hoffman. I love Strom. I like Estevez. I think they're. I'd still like to see some Harper Power come back. They were talking about sitting him for a little bit to kind of get him right for the playoffs, but I think he just wants to try to play his way through it. And maybe that's the right thing. I don't know. But we'll see.
I don't like that, Schwabi. I think we give him a week off and see how he feels. It's, when's the last time he's gone 21 games without a home run?
Yeah.
He's hitting the ball well. He's seeing it well, but it's not. He's hitting, yeah. But gosh, man, a healthy Harper in October sounds a lot better to me than a so-so Harper in September.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And you'd rather rest him sooner rather than later, because he's going to, if he takes 5 or 6 days off, you want him back and in the groove for the playoffs. And that's coming up. That's 3.5 weeks away. It's not that far down the road.
Maybe what they're hoping is, we got a series coming up with the Mets. And maybe we're hoping, like, if we could sweep or take 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 from the Mets, that might make it almost insurmountable for somebody to take the division or a first round bye. And maybe at that point you rest them. But I think they still sort of look at it like it's not completely over yet, even though we think it is and it seems like it is. I mean, look, they've got a 7-game lead, and I believe they have 7 games left with the Mets. So it's not completely over yet.
Right.
So I think that's why he's still playing.
Yeah, I don't think you can. It's not at the point where you can mail it in now.
Right.
It's right on the cusp though.
And I think that they may have also learned prior, when they just said, you know what, JT, get some surgery, come back in 2 months. Hey, you know what, Ranger, get your arm right, take a month and a half off. And that's when they really started to slide. So maybe now it's like, hey, look, it's September. We need to play baseball.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Rube? You've been watching for a while.
I think from a pitching perspective, very true. I feel good about our top 3. I like Sanchez as our 4. I'm a little bit more concerned about the hitting and who is going to give us another bat outside our normal, right? Boehm is out. I don't know how bad the hand is. That's worrying. I don't know, outside of Casty, I don't know who else in the outfield is going to hit. Is this Austin Hayes for real? Speaking of Baltimore guys, Chris, he gets hurt. Now he's got a kidney infection. Marsh, any given game could be good or bad.
We knew that was coming.
Right.
What
do you see
who's going to hit?
Did you see Rojas roped 3 doubles the other day? He did.
I think those. Yeah, please go ahead.
I'll tell you what. Look, the bottom line is they got enough hitting. It's just the fear for me is everybody going to go cold at the same time, which is
our MO.
Which is what has happened the last 2 years. Everybody's going cold at the same time. But I'm sorry, like, look, you got Schwarber, Trey Turner, Bohm, Harper, Castellanos. I mean, right there, you got 5 guys.
Real Muto.
6 guys who can essentially carry a team. If you can't have 3 out of those 6 hitting at any point in time, then you don't deserve to win playoff series, So, and look, I mean, to be honest, at the bottom of the lineup, to have a Marsh and a Stott, it's not bad. I mean, it can be much worse. There's a lot of teams out there that don't have anybody as good as those guys, or they're like, like if Stott was on some teams in Major League Baseball, he might be like the 3rd best hitter on the team.
Yeah. I can think of one right off the top of my head.
Right.
Yeah, right. So, well, you know what wins championships, Schwaber?
Pitching
and leadoff home runs.
Yes, right. Leadoff home runs.
Did you know the Phillies are 22-3 when Schwarber homers?
Yeah, with a leadoff home run.
No, when he homers, period.
Well, he's hit more than 22 home runs since he's been a
22-3, right? So that's 25.
Yeah.
How many does he have?
As a Philly, he's hit 100 home runs.
I'm talking about this season.
Yeah.
Oh, this season.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he's got 32 home runs.
Yeah. So
that's also wrong.
Yeah, that's got to be wrong.
Huh. That's okay.
That's okay, Rube. You're learning.
Hold on.
He did. By the way, he did. I don't know if you know this yet, Rube, but he has tied a major league record this year with 13 leadoff home runs. So if he hits one more leadoff home run, then he breaks the major league record for leadoff home runs in a season.
Yeah. Yeah.
According to Jason Stark of The Athletic, I'm quoting, Philadelphia is 22-3 this year when Schwarber hits a home run.
That had to have been from a while ago.
No, this was. Go ahead, you guys talk. I'm gonna look.
He's got 32 home runs.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm looking up his stats right now. He's got 33 home runs.
33 home runs. But he did hit like 8 in like a 10-day period.
Yeah,
it was probably right before that.
Yeah, you could be right. Yeah,
probably went right before that.
Yeah. Well, you let us know, Rube. You've got to figure it out.
I'm gonna do my research.
Yeah, just hit refresh.
Maybe you should get yourself an intern, Rob, like we have. Yeah,
you got to get an intern, put them on stats.
Yeah,
Who's your intern? Is Chris your intern?
Yeah, no.
We have a Ukrainian woman named Marta.
Yeah, that's our intern. Mark picked her, not me.
Yep,
Mark
from the Ukraine.
Yeah.
And she also does some.
Twice he had to say that.
She also does some TikToking.
Yes.
She does the type of videos where like you go like this and then you turn from one outfit into another outfit.
Yeah.
Paging Mr. Beach, Mr. Beach, Mr. Beach. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. And why does she keep coming up in your feed, Schwaber?
I'm friends with her. I'm friends with her. Let's be real.
Anyway. Friends.
All right, off the rails. All right,
it looks good. Good news. Looks like the wife ain't watching. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. But this is but she's subscribed to the podcast, so you have some splaining to do.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I think she feels pretty secure.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So what was the last thing, Rob? Did you want to say something about like anything else with another sport that comes to mind?
Yeah. What else are you watching? What other sports are you watching out there?
You know what? I'm gonna give this one up to Stu since he stayed with us this whole show here.
Yeah, thank God.
He asked about the U.S. Open, and I have to tell you, first of all, F you DirecTV, because they took my goddamn ESPN off and the US Open was on ESPN and I couldn't watch from the semifinals on. So that pissed me off, number one. Like, can you just freaking work this shit out?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, you can't. DirecTV took it down because Disney and ESPN, they wanted to hike the price. which would have affected your bill, Schwaber. And I know you're not,
I get
pennies to dollars sensitive,
but
right?
figure it out beforehand.
Yeah, before
you know what I mean?
Before you watch.
Oh boy! I'm in trouble now. Oh no!
Oh my God! For once, you're getting in trouble, Schwaber, not me.
That's okay.
Anyway, so go ahead with the U.S. Open.
So,
Mark's trying to think of excuses now.
No. So, U.S. Open. Here's the thing. Let's at least talk men's side here. I just can't get on board with Sinner winning the U.S. Open. Like I know you know nothing about tennis, Chris, but
I don't.
But Sinner is the number one player in the world, and he's also been charged twice with doping. And I have no idea why he's still allowed to play.
Well, I mean, his name, first of all, should be warning enough.
Yes,
right.
Yes, he has sinned many a time.
Yeah.
So just the fact that like this dude is like playing and winning, I don't understand it. Like, I think, when Maria Sharapova, like when she took like some medicine that was like just designed to like, help with some disease or something that she actually had.
Yeah, she got flagged.
She got banned for like 2 years. This guy's just allowed to play. What's up with that?
Well, he's related to Rashee Rice, and Roger Goodell is his uncle.
Right. But it was a great little showing from the American men. You had Taylor Fritz, number 12 player in the world, making his first final. But to be honest, I don't know that he's the kind of guy that's going to get back too often. So, and TFO, also known as Foe, he's a big LeBron James is a huge fan. He's a real fun player to watch, but he just didn't have enough. He's a really good player, but it's like he's never going to have like 6 good matches in a tournament to be able to win, a Grand Slam final. Like there's just, when you've got like, this was the one chance. You had no Djokovic, you had no Alcaraz, you had no Nadal. This was the one chance, and just didn't happen for him. Yep.
Yeah, and I think she's talking about the doping. Supposedly it was in his massage lotion that the massage therapist put on him.
Yeah, so now we're already getting into like Deshaun Watson territory.
Yeah, right, exactly. And Stewart agrees with you. Sinner may make him stop watching tennis.
Although on the women's side, Arina Sabalenka with a huge...
where's that man from?
Rob, that's inappropriate.
It's not inappropriate. I think it's funny.
She is a woman, and she looks like a woman. She's just big boned.
Does she?
Now, wait a minute. I beg to differ.
Yeah, I was going to say, Rube, you and I need to have a discussion here real quick. Okay, so, because I don't know who this person is.
Yeah.
So, really, she looks like a man?
No,
I want to hear Rube. I want to hear Rube. I don't want to hear your politically
I think the way she walks and hits, and to some extent her facial features do look manly to me.
Okay.
I know she's not. I think some may find her quite beautiful. But holy cow, she hits the ball hard.
Yeah.
She does. Yeah. So, Chris, I just want you to come over to my screen here for a minute.
Okay.
And
you're going to show me.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think? Man or woman? I'll show you some others.
I think she looks like the Joker.
I'll show you some others.
Yeah, that's manly. That one's kind of manly.
Okay,
all right. I'm with Rube on this.
But she's a very good tennis player.
Very good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So good enough.
I have one more for you that you must see.
The FCC. The beauty is this is the internet. Stuart.
I want you to say now if this is
okay. Hold on a second.
Man or woman.
Is that Caitlyn Jenner?
No.
Oh.
Well, you do think she looks like a man.
All right. Anyway, we digress.
How about you, Rube? I guess you're probably watching some college football that none of us care about.
Yeah. Let's. Yeah.
I'm a big college football fan. My Tennessee Volunteers are 2-0. You can see the orange and white checkerboard blanket from that Grandma Jay made me on the sofa behind me.
Very exciting.
Listen, I love college football almost as much as I love pro football, if not more. It was great to see Notre Dame lose to Northern Illinois this weekend.
Yeah, that was fun.
Because we hate the Notre Dame on the sports porch. And
I guess
so very, very enjoyable. And Schwabi, your Wolverines, I don't think they can win without Connor Stallions. What can I tell you?
Well,
look what Amy May said.
I know.
That's right out of Schwab's playbook.
Yep.
Rob is the professional. You two are fools.
Thank you, Amy May. I agree.
I will say this. I don't dislike college football. But I actually like watching college football, but for a completely different reason. I completely see college football as the minor leagues of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And so I purely watch it to see who do I want the Eagles to be focusing on in the drafts in the coming years.
And there's breaking news right now on the NFL Network. Christian McCaffrey is inactive for tonight's game.
Oh, is that for real?
There go a lot of fantasy players.
Yep, absolutely.
But I will say that now, just one more comment on the college football. I think, Rube, the reason why I am not as into college football now, look, you could say it's different now with NIL coming into play, and I guess in a sense that there's opportunities in some other areas for, it's like Alabama maybe isn't going to get all the good players anymore. But I still feel like it's really top heavy, Northern Illinois is a great story, but that happens once or twice a year. And those teams generally have no shot against, the blue blood schools who are constantly fighting it out, whether it's Georgia, Alabama, Michigan was strong with Harbaugh. They'll probably take a backseat now. Penn State, what they're going to do every year, 10-0, but lose to Ohio State and Michigan. It's like, it's so predictable to me.
I think part of it is, listen, I went to the University of Tennessee for grad school, and it was an amazing experience.
It's a great event. I went to the game. I went to the game with you where they toured.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I don't love what college sports is becoming. I would agree with you there. I think at some point the SEC and the Big Ten are going to break away from the NCAA and say, we don't need you anymore. We can self-fund, we can self-govern, and away we go. All this NIL crap, I think you're right. It is making it really top-heavy between the haves and the have-nots. I hate that about college sports. But I still get super excited at the beginning of every season to watch Texas play, because we've lived here in Austin for 25 years.
Right.
To watch Tennessee play, to watch Penn State. I've been watching them my whole life. So to me, I love the pageantry, which is
right. And in Austin, the Texas football team is the pro sports team, right?
More or less. We've got an MLS team, and that's it.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
Yeah. Okay, we got to move this along here. Last week we weren't able to get to what we're watching, and we're having so much fun this week. We can
push it off another week.
No. Let's get into it right now. This is from last week. This is what we're watching, and what we do here is there's a million streaming services out there. There's so much to pick from. You could spend a whole day. Actually, today's one of my days off of work, and I did spend almost the whole day looking for something to watch. And so we're here to tell you what you should or shouldn't watch. And this week, Mark and Rube each picked something. We'll go with Rube. Rube, your show was
Winning Time, the rise of the Lakers dynasty. So the only reason I'm watching this is I was on a plane one time and it looked interesting, and I said, you know what, let's watch this. And every time I watch it, I ask myself, why on earth am I watching this? And I just find the whole Jerry Buss story interesting. It gives me a good laugh when I see these guys that they recruit to be actors or cast to be like Julius Erving. It's like the worst Julius Erving impression ever. Yeah. But the guy who they got to play Magic is pretty darn close. So I give them props. So it's a little entertaining nonsense. I hadn't really been watching anything else. It only goes 2 seasons. I've watched the first. I don't know if I'm going to watch the second. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Have you guys seen it?
No, I
spent
have
time
not.
watching it?
I have not. Now, one of the things that you probably don't know, Rube, I am very anti-documentary. And that is basically because I know what happened already. Now, what Chris will say, he takes the other viewpoint and says he enjoys finding out those little things that maybe you didn't know.
I'm with Chris. I'm a fan of the documentary.
Which I can buy. But, like the bottom line is, to me, it's like, all right, I know that the Lakers, had a lot of close games with the Celtics, and their Lakers are a great franchise, and Magic Johnson's awesome, and so is Kareem, and so is Pat Riley, and I'm done. Like I don't need to watch it. I know it.
Yeah, yep.
Did you watch the Kelsey? Did you watch the Kelsey documentary?
I did, but that's because I like Kelsey.
Yeah. see, Mark watches. Mark likes his documentaries like he likes his politics. He doesn't like to read between the lines or get to the real truth. He only wants to know what's shown to you on the screen.
Look at you.
He wants the narrative. Mark likes the narrative, not the truth.
Look at him throwing politics.
There you go.
Into it.
Well, I mean, it's all. There's a string there.
No.
It's a string.
What I do like some documentaries,
okay.
and the ones that I like are the ones that tell a story, generally speaking, that I knew nothing about. So
you mean like Pepsi, Where's My Plane?
I do not know what that is.
All right. It's a little teaser for you, Schwabi. Go watch that one. It'll crack you up.
Okay.
Schwabi, what have you been watching?
Well, let's see what do I got here. Put it up there, Chris.
Yeah, I'm working on that right now. What Mark has been watching?
Blink Twice. Good movie, Rube.
Never heard of it.
It's got it's like these days it's like you never do hear of movies,
No, it's
like,
hard.
You only hear them like if it's like Oscar time and they're up for an Oscar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and who really pays attention to that anymore?
Right. So this one's got Channing Tatum is the star of it. It's actually directed by Zoe Kravitz. And I would say if you like M. Night Shyamalan stuff, then you would like this movie. It's very M. Night. As a matter of fact, it's better than M. Night's last movie.
Which you reviewed.
Which I reviewed.
And you did not
it was not that good.
Yeah.
So essentially what this is, Channing Tatum is a billionaire. And he one of the things that his company has done is it's created this product that sort of like that basically makes people forget. And so what they end up doing is he and his kind of like his executive team of horrible people, they constantly like bring people to a private island that he has bought, and they take advantage of all these people.
Does this sound familiar?
Because the next night, because when they wake up in the morning, they're not going to remember what happened. So
Jeffrey Epstein had this.
They just wake up in the morning and and he's like, "How are you doing today?" And they're like, "It's a beautiful day." Yeah.
I love your island.
But of course, somehow they get onto it a little bit, and it's fun. It gets a little crazy.
All right. Blink Twice.
Yeah,
you saw that in the theater too.
Yeah, very suspenseful.
Yeah.
Very suspenseful.
Yeah. What I think is great is that Mark actually still goes to the theater by himself to watch movies.
I do. I enjoy it.
I really do. I think it's incredible.
To me, actually, you know what? For this one, Blink Once, it was just me.
Yeah. You and
that's what I try to do. I like to go to the movies first thing in the morning. Like I'll see the 10:15 show. And it's usually just me or there's less than 10 people.
Yeah. You and Paul Rubin. You got it. You and Paul Rubin.
Who's Paul Rubin?
Who's Paul Rubin?
Is that the dude with the
Pee Wee Herman?
Yeah. All right. You're a despicable human being.
If I can't get that out of Mark at least once, we haven't had a good show.
That's right.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching the Sports Porch Philadelphia. The Sports Porch Negadelphia on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, all over the world. And of course, I'm going to drop the podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get
your podcasts.
Your friggin' podcasts. And you can also follow our channel on YouTube at Philadelphia Sports Porch. We'll catch you next week after another Eagles victory. For Rube, the Grant Schwabini, I'm your technical director. I'm out. Thank you, Stuart. You guys have a great week.
Thank you, Stu. Hope you enjoyed it.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Jablonsk.